Stop fighting, not fighting. That's when you threw your phone.
I don't have any views right yet. Oh, hey, what's up? We got a viewer in the building. Just gotta come on in, y'all. I'm setting up my light. Oh. Right, we got it. All right. Check yourself. Check it out. What's up, peoples? And give people time to come in. Make sure you drop us something in the chat too. You don't have to just sit and watch. What up, bro? We're gonna have a little story time tonight. We're gonna give people time to get in. Make sure when y'all come in the room, y'all check in the chat just to let us know who you're here, so I can give shout outs to people that are showing up and watching. There's gonna be some Q&A, so make sure you drop in your questions right there in the comments below to the side or wherever they're flowing. Just flowing for you. For me, they're flowing right there. So yeah. We're gonna give it a few minutes, let some more people get in. You know, I see we got Myron White in the building. What up, bro? AKA Die Hard. LK all day. Anyway, I wonder who else do we have in the building? Who else do we have in the building? I can't really see you guys who's coming in. So if you could, please, could you kind of like, chime in? I want to make sure, can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me okay? Okay, cool. So since tonight's story time is about this is going to be about my first time hanging out with my homegirl, Mary Jane. It's actually a 2-part story time because the very first time wasn't really like a good hangout session, but the second time, whew, oh man. So yeah, we're going to get into it. You know what I mean? We'll start doing it around the 10-minute mark and giving people time to get in. I got to go over to my social medias real quick and let everybody know, get your ass in the building. We live. We in the building. So as we got in here, we got Myron in here. Whoever else is in the room in the building, I need you to put your name or say something over here in the comments so I know You're watching. You feel me? I can't just have a phantom viewer in here and not know, you know. Let me see if this will give me a link real quick so I can tell people. Okay. Swear, yeah. Anywho, so since tonight's story time is about my first hangout session with Mary Jane, it's only right that I actually had her here alongside me for the show. So we're about 3 minutes and some change away from starting. So, you know, Byron, if you want to grab you a drink or something, you know what I'm saying? Do so. Appreciate you tuning in. This is something that you can find out about your brother. If you didn't already know. Yeah. I'm telling the truth though. I got a little chunky out here. I like it. Anyway. Yeah. Yeah, you already know. Um, how's your day been so far? How's everything been going for you? Yeah, it's been like that. 2 minutes, and then we start this story time. 2 minutes. It's been a crazy day. Oh, well, that's good. Had a good day at work. That's good to hear. Good to hear. You know what I'm saying? That way, you know, the rest of your week should go great. Then, you know what I'm saying? Ah, period. Yeah. Yeah. People send me stuff all the time, and just be too much. Too much going on. Way too much going on. 45 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. right. 10 minutes. Here we go. So, the very first time that I hung out with Mary Jane, uh, I was 13 years old. Some before my freshman year in high school, and I was involved in. It was a theatrical group, and we ended up doing a show called Voices, and the play ran a couple of weeks. You know, it was a really good show. And actually, the cast helped write the script for the show and whatnot. So it was really telling about the type of young people that were in there, and we all ranged from like 9, 10 to about 18. It was a very mixed group of kids. I was the only black kid on there, not the only male, but only black kid. There were some Filipino, white, um, other Asiatic descent, as well as I want to say Polynesian. So it was a very diverse group of individuals. And I knew a lot of them because we went to school together, played sports together, and everything else. So it was pretty cool. So the show was called Voices, and that was like one of the first times I had actually performed on stage in my hometown doing a solo gig, music, hip hop, rapping, and all of that. So it was pretty cool. It was televised on public access TV, the cable channel there. It was pretty dope. Pretty dope. Pretty dope. Like 93, 94 years. So the very last night of the actual party, of the show, they were having this rap party. And I'm like, I had done plays and stuff before, but I was, I had parentals that was like, all right, let's go. No, let's go. But they were saying that they were having a cast rap party, and they wanted all the cast to come. And I'm like, all right, let me talk to my mom and dad and see. And it just so happened that a couple of the kids that were in the play, their parents and my parents knew each other through business dealings and stuff. So it was like, all right, cool. So they were like, okay, go ahead. So we go somewhere way out in the cut. If you're from North Carolina, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's not 73, but it's the other small highway that runs parallel to 73, like you're going towards Mount Pleasant. Old Concord, Salisbury Road. We were out on that road for a minute, and then all of a sudden we were at this huge ass house in this big ass field, and I was just like, oh, should I stay at home? You know what I'm saying? So we get there and everybody's cooling, and you know what I'm saying, we drinking pops and hanging out and listening to music. At that time, it was like a mixture. We listened to alternative, we listened to rock, pop, hip hop, all of that, all in once. You know what I'm saying? We were a true melting pot back then. Now, whatever. So we listened to the music, everybody having a good time. I had a couple wine coolers because I'm 13 years old. I'm 13, so I'm like, I'm not getting ready to drink that heavy, especially knowing that somebody have to drop me off back home. I might stumble in the house. Mom and dad find out, it's a wrap. So, speaking of, by the way, sorry, mom and dad. So we get to the party and everything. Like I said, we're drinking, having a good time, and then somebody was like, "Yo, you want to hit this?" And I was like, "Hit what?" And they were like, "You want to hit this?" And I'm like, "What is it?" And they were like, "It was a J." I was like, "Okay." I knew what J's were, but I had never seen one as long as these kids had it. Now, keep in mind, again, like I said, we're from ages like 9, 10 to 18, and all the cast is there. I'm not going to say any of the cast members' names. We're all still connected on Facebook. I'm even connected with one of your moms. So, which, by the way, good luck. Good looking out. You've been taking really good care of yourself. Good job. So yeah, I'm not gonna put their names out, but we were all there, and we just started passing around the joint, and then it got to me again. I'm just like, nobody's listening, nobody's paying attention. I grabbed it and I took off, and I was like, "Yeah!" Hitting it. They're like, "What you doing?" I'm like, I kept trying to pass it. Nobody was listening to me, so I just kept hitting it. They're like, "Oh, my bad. We just fucked up." Ha 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 ha. Okay, so couple hours go by, and I'm just like hungry and got a headache. So it was probably some trash. It was probably some trash, but I was hungry and I had a headache. So I was ready to go home, and they just had snacks. I wanted food. I'm used to when my family and people throw parties, we have food, not snacks. So I get home, I eat, and I go to bed. And the next day it was like, yeah, because it was almost summertime and everything. So it wasn't a big deal. So we're going to fast forward. That was the first time. Wasn't much to tell, but that's just being honest. That was the first time. Now we fast forward. I'm going to say this was my junior year in high school. Junior year. Freshman year, I was pretty much in the house. I mean, I got grounded September of my freshman year and didn't get to get out of the house until like January of my freshman year. I'm like, no bullshit, y'all. Like I was in the house for a while, but that's a whole nother story time. That's a whole nother story time. But it was the reason that my mom caught me and she was like, "You ain't going nowhere for a while," and she meant that. So my freshman year, after that first time, wasn't really about that. I was focusing on my studies and figuring out what I was going to do with my life because I was like ready to get out of the house. Came around to my sophomore year. My sophomore year, I was on something totally different. I was like, like, ooh, I'm going to try to do this, and I want to do this, and this, and this, and I'm playing this sport and that. Nah, so I wasn't thinking about it. My junior year was my best year of high school, period. So, and keep in mind now, my junior year was like 1995, 96. I graduated in 96, 96. Well, I graduated in 97. So that was the fall 96, spring 97. I graduated in 97. But my junior year was lit. So this particular time, it was like the first time all over again, but intensified times 20. All right. So I'm riding with a friend of mine. We're gonna call him Blaze. And no, I'm sorry. No. Blaze and Kyle picked me up because I was hanging with Aries. So we're gonna call the first one Aries. So I was with Aries, and Aries was like, "Yo, man, I got a joint. You want to hit it?" And as soon as he said that, my mind flashed back to the freaking cast party. So I'm like, "Yo, what's good? Let's do this." You know what I'm saying? So I'm riding with him, and we happen to run into his brother, Carl. Hello, Carl. That's what we're gonna call him, Carl. Ran into his brother Carl and our friend Blaze, who's the other person. So Carl and Blaze, they had a whole blunt roll, and they was like, "Jerron, get in the car, ride with us, hit this." I'm like, "You sure, or you want me to go?" They were like, "Yeah, come on." So I'm like, "Aries, you cool with that, or you want me to ride?" He's like, "No, I'm gonna go ahead and do that." Blah 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 blah. And then I just come meet y'all. I'm like, "All right." So I get out the car and get out one car, and get into the next. We are riding down a very popular street in my hometown that leads through the downtown where the parade goes. So if you're from the area, you know what street I'm talking about. You know, we're riding down that street and we're headed to a park in that area. So we get to the park, and the entire time as we're riding to the park, we just like chiefing. I mean, like hotboxing that car crazy. So we get to the park, and I get out the car, and I'm just like, yo, I'm just looking around like, dang, man, I ain't even got no headache. I feel different. Remember, I said that. So I'm like, I don't have a headache, and I feel different. And so then that's when about 3 or 4 other people that we knew had pulled up at the park, because that at that time that was the spot everybody knew. Like if you the school was right around the corner from there, so it was like everybody knew that was one of the spots you go to. So we went there. We ran into some homeboys of ours or whatever, and then Aries pulls up. Aries pulls up, and he was like, "Oh, you hit the blunt with them?" I was like, "Yeah." He told me to go. He's like, "Well, shit, I'm gonna take this to the face." They were like, "Nah, man, you told me you were gonna blaze that with him. Don't even do him like that. We asked him to ride with us. They ain't got nothing to do with you. What you do?" Good. And so he was like, "All right, come on, man." So we get in the car and we smoke his J. I don't know what I know now, but at that time I didn't know where the heck got this from. But it was like, whoa. So me and Aries get finished. We get out of the car. We walk back over to the group of people, and as we're walking over there, I just stopped. And he was like, you good, bro?" I'm like, "I'm good, I'm coming." So I stopped, and he keeps walking over to the group, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I just burst out with like laughter, like uncontrollable laughter. You would have thought I was at a live comedy show with like the best comedians in the world. I don't care who they are, the best comedians in the world that would have you gut punching, laughing on the floor. That's what you would have thought was going on at that time. But no, I was just really high. I was tripping. I was really, really high. Tripping. So like I'm laughing and giggling, and I literally was standing at the top of this grass knoll. Okay, so like picture it. There's like this brick outlining the grass knoll, and then a brick bottom base, and then there's the ground, and then there's the tennis courts. I literally was laughing so hard I rolled down this embankment, popped off of the little ball, the wall part of it, hit the ground, and got up and just jogged over to the tennis courts and just I mean, I was just laughing my ass off. Here's the thing. For no reason. No one said anything funny. No one even looked at me funny. I didn't even have a funny thought in my head. Nothing. I just busted out laughing like ridiculous. I'm talking, it was hurting my stomach. I was laughing so freaking hard, right? So I'm out there, I'm kicking and ha-ha and laughing and stuff. And nobody seemed to ask me what was wrong or if I was tripping. They knew what it was. Because everybody else, when I got over there, everybody was laughing. I was like, "What y'all laughing at me?" He was like, "Nah, man, we just laughing. Ain't nothing to even laugh at. We just all started laughing." So it was some laughing gas. And that's when we started calling it gas. Because anytime we got that same weed, it made us laugh. So we called it gas, laughing gas. So like I said, I get over there, everybody's kicking and laughing and stuff. Then we start freestyling and rapping and shit like that. And that was just like, I was in my element there because I was like, oh, my mind wide open. I'm about to just start flowing and flowing and flowing. And I was just out there going to get it. You know what I'm saying? And so that's when we all knew that we were going to do music in some form or fashion. So it was like, boom, I'm in there I'm doing my thing. He doing his, everybody just doing their thing. You know what I'm saying? So then we get finished, we get finished with that, and we end up heading back towards my neighborhood, which was on the other side of this popular street. I live near the middle school, and the park that we were at were near one of the elementary schools and near our high school. So I'm at I'm living over by the middle school and everything. And I think that was right when that might have been the year that they actually changed over to the new middle school. I can't remember. I think it might have been after I graduated, whatever. So we back over there, and we're standing over at the little recreation center that's right across the street from my house, and we're in the little field area, and we're just still freestyling and laughing and rapping and stuff like that. And so eventually they got to go in the house. They got to go home. I was okay because my mom was like, long as you in the area, the vicinity, and I know you're within walking distance of here, I don't care what time you get here, but don't stay out all night. It was the weekend too, so it didn't matter. So actually, no, it wasn't. It was a school night. I remember that. I remember that because I was talking to a certain young lady on the phone after I got home, but I'm gonna get there. But so yeah, we're still spitting our shit and everything. They had to go home, and I was like, all right, I'm about to go in the house. And then all of a sudden, as I'm walking home, and I'm talking literally across the street, I start that freaking laughing fit all over again. And I'm like screaming. And the rec center and everything, you could hear the echo because the acoustics was like bouncing off the walls. And you heard me just laugh. And I know that it wasn't late. It wasn't after 11 o'clock, so I wasn't worried. As long as I was in the house before 11 o'clock, I was cool. So I knew it was 11 o'clock. So I'm out there laughing. One of my neighbors, who was like a sister to me, she came out and was like, what the hell is wrong with you? I was like, girl, I said, I'm so high. And she was like, you been smoking that stuff. You been smoking that shit, huh, Jerron? I was like, yeah. She laughed because the shit was just funny. So she and I talked for a few minutes, and then I go in the house. My younger bro was there because I would sometimes he would catch the bus. He was this was my junior year, so I was 5 years ahead of him. Yeah, his elementary school was within walking distance, and where he stayed, his mom worked third, so he came and stayed with us at night, and then he would either drop him off at school or he would walk to school or take the bus or whatever. Or our other cousin would come and pick him up from my house on the way to school because they live right up the street. So he there, and he looks at me, and I look at him, and he just started giggling because he knew what it was. He knew what it was. He just cracked up. And so he went and sat back in the living room, and then he was like, I'm getting ready to go to bed. So I let him sleep in my bed at that particular point that night. On that particular night, he slept in my bed. I stayed on the couch because I was still wired, and I'm giggling. So I go in there, and I ate a whole pot and a half of I want to say it was either SpaghettiOs. It was some type of noodle dish. I remember that. I ate a whole pot and a half of that bad boy. Like it wasn't nothing. And then I was talking on the phone with this young lady, and we were talking, and we just got to talking, and she was like, why do you keep giggling? And I told her, and she was like, oh, now you smoke that shit too? In retrospect, the same girl, she smoked. I don't know what else she do, but I know she smoked in retrospect. Okay. So, yeah, we laughed and giggled and talked on the phone that night. And then I finally got off the phone with her, went to bed, woke up the next morning, and was like, I'm ready to do that again. I was ready to do that shit again. I was like, yo, I ain't laughed so hard like that in my life. In my life, And so then, continuing on through that year of high school, you know what I'm saying? Every so often, every couple of days, it might have been before school or after school or that night, whatever the case may be, we would get together and we would play. That was when we were young and dumb. We didn't really understand that, we needed eye drops and smell good and stuff like that before you walk into class and stuff. I never got caught. I never got busted or anything like that. Never questioned about it. You know what I'm saying? But it's just telling. You know what I'm saying? You learn a lot. So, yeah. That was a hellified experience, and it was hilarious. It was hilarious. And I loved every minute of it. So that's my story time about the first time that I ever hung out with Mary Jane. The very first time when I just met her, well, I'm gonna say just hung out with her because I had met her before when I didn't want to talk about that. But the very first time that I hung out with her, and then the second time where we really got to know each other, whew. And from that day forward, she's been a really good friend of mine. Now, I mean, at that time, it was recreational, but I do use it for medicinal purposes now, and I do have a medicinal card, so I'm 100% legal. So anybody that's watching this before you try to take it to YouTube and get my shit yanked down, make sure you know who's licensed and what they can and can't do. Because if I find out, trust me, I'm coming for you. Oh, you're not gonna like it. Anywho, so I know we said we were gonna do a Q&A, but I'm gonna let you folks get back to doing what you're doing so I can get started on next week's show, and to get this album wrapped up that is coming this month. There's one song that has to be completed, and that's it. And it's done. We just dropped 2 tracks last night. Yeah, it was, but yeah, we dropped 2 tracks last night. They're exclusively on the album only. You want to hear them, you got it. There's no going to our reverb pages or iTunes or anything or title, none of that shit. You got to count the album. The album is coming out. You will find out sooner or later. This album is going to be a royalty-free album. Instead of making money with this album, I'm giving this album away. I know times are hard right now for people, and money is tight. You know, and I know some people are still saying, "Well, I'll still purchase it." I get it. If you want to donate, that's fine. But this album is actually going to be free because I just want people to hear it. And I mean, I've been in this game long enough. I feel like, I can keep giving out free albums. It's not hurting me in the long run. Check that. But yeah, that's coming. Dopeness. I'm loving it. Renaissance Man coming. Don't sleep on the creep. Renaissance Man for sure. But yeah, we're gonna get up out of here tonight. And I'm gonna holler at you guys next week. Next week's show, you just have to tune in to find out. But it's gonna be very, very interesting. So you all stay blessed, stay highly favored, be good people, be kind to one another, and we'll see y'all soon.